John Griffiths here, just to give you an introduction to next week's course. This is the second session when we are still, in that sense, ramping up before we even start to look at online research. And as last week we looked at the general issues of what we needed research to do as a way of supporting decisions, this week we're going to focus on the people we're going to be studying in research. And this time we're going to be looking at personas and using the idea of personas to do it. Now, some of you will know about personas. You'll have come across them through website development. And that's certainly one of the main ways in which personas are used. However, I want to take the idea of personas and extend it a whole way out, because what personas has allowed us to do is to think about people less in terms of demographics and attitudes, which is traditionally how market research has tended to treat people. Who they are, how old they are, where do they live, and what do they think about things, and to focus far more on goals and behaviors, because with goals and behaviors, those are the fundamental things that determine how people use a website. But I think that focus on what we need to know about people is far, far more important than attitudes and demographics. If you take a view of attitudes and demographics, you will always find yourself in a situation where you're wondering if people are telling you the truth, if people are really at the age they say they are, or is the person really from that part of the world, or have they got the level of education. If you focus on goals and behaviors, which is of course what you have to do in the web anyway, then things become much more simple. Now, I've got a couple of examples I've left with you to have a look at, because I did a project with Microsoft a few years ago where, although this was before we even used the term personas, it was a much more 360-degree view of who their audiences were in the UK, and I had to provide a 700-word profile for each one. And I had to focus much more on what these people wanted, how they consume media, and how they behaved. So hopefully you'll find that a useful way in and a useful method of thinking about audiences. Then moving on from that, I want to talk about, I'm hoping we'll be able to look at this example from intercontinental hotels and Express by Holiday Inns. Again, this comes from a project I did with them a few years ago now, but I'm hoping that you can, in the exercise, start to build up a profile as to what the Express by Holiday Inns user is like. So that's the project for this week, but I'm hoping in the course of the week that you'll understand why personas are so important and start to use them in a much broader way, in a much wider way. And for that reason, I've also given an example from the British Army website, which shows how they're actually using it as a recruitment device within the website. Last thing is, in previous years I've done an Are You Wired survey. I will put it in again this year. Please don't feel that you have to do this. It's not part of coursework, it's not being marked formally in that way, but if you're intrigued, it's just a way to put yourself under the spotlight to answer that question, what kind of internet user are you? And I look forward to next Monday receiving your group projects, and we shall continue. Speak soon.